Hi and welcome to another episode of the Getting Things Done podcast from GTDnordic. I am Morten Røvik and I'm here as always with my friend and colleague Lars Roskilde Henriksen. Hello Lars.
Hello Mr. Morten Røvik. I was really expecting a new language from you now, so you threw me off course with the
of course
just the normal hello.
That was my intention.
But good to be back as always, and looking forward to sharing some more thoughts on GTD with our listeners and viewers. If you have not listened to this podcast before or watched the podcast before, our goal is to support you in learning GTD or becoming an even better GTDer so you can get the benefits from GTD, becoming more productive, getting that good overview of all of your commitments, and really be more present in whatever you're engaged in. We hope that you find these episodes valuable regardless of your experience with GTD. And lastly, if you would like a refresher or learn more about the basics of GTD, we cover the 5 steps and how Morten and I came across GTD in the first 6 episodes of the podcast. So if you're looking for that, then go back and find the first episodes.
Good. And today's episode title, we've titled it GTD, Hobbies and Housework. And this idea stems from a Reddit post you read. Isn't that so, Lars? Can you take us back to that
is true.
a little?
Yeah, sure. No, so we were brainstorming a bit on what would be fun to talk about. And I've started, like you, Morten, as well, to spend a bit more time on Reddit. The GTD forum there is very active and always good to hear some of the thoughts and questions that are coming from GTDers around the world. And one that I came across from JenTheDogLover was, am I missing something? ? GTD seems very geared to office and work life. I can't grasp its usefulness to housework/hobbies. And I thought that was pretty interesting because it is, people often come to GTD, find GTD because of work, because they feel they need to be more organized, be more productive at work. So that's how they find it. But then how do you then expand that to cover more areas of your life? And what could that look like? So I thought that would be a fun topic to go over in today's podcast.
Yes, I think so too. So if we split it into, if you look at this as in the Horizons of Focus model, then hobbies and housework would be under areas of focus or areas of responsibility. And why don't we try and take hobbies first? Is that okay for you?
Sure.
Yeah. So when you have a hobby, that might be time consuming, take a lot of time and effort, and it can be like anything can be a hobby. Even GTD can be a hobby. And and just to start off, I just started a new hobby. I don't know how we found that, but my wife and I, we started looking into leather works. I think we actually found some old leather that she had, and we started talking what we do with that, and then suddenly we have a hobby. And with that, suddenly I think we have a hobby, because then we went to see a big shop during the corona pandemic last year, where we before everything closed down, we went there and we bought some extra leather, some tools, and I go to eBay and buy a lot of different tools, and now we have everything set, or more or less everything set to start doing this. But I think I'm sorry, I have to do a little coughing, which hopefully you didn't hear.
No, you're good.
And I have to go again. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we are back. This is nearly live, so we don't edit a lot. So I'm sorry about that, folks. But when you identify a hobby as something you would like to do something about, I suggest that you... and some people might think that this will demeanor or lower the joy factor of a hobby to put it on your list. For me, it is not. It's a way to not forget that I actually think this is a cool thing to do, and make sure that I prioritize time for focusing on that hobby. So my first suggestion is, if you find a hobby, put it on your area of focus in your areas of responsibility and focus list, or brain map, sorry, mind map, brain map, mind map, or something like that. And then ask yourself, is there a project there? Is there something within that hobby you would like to create? Like one of the first thing I created, I didn't put there because it was over in one night. That I made a little leather pouch for my wife's newly acquired power bank for her phone, extra battery. So, but the next project went there. I want to buy. I have a Remarkable tablet. I would like to have this with create a leather case for that, so I can carry it in my bag. And that is my next project. And for this, I had to have some special tools that I don't have. So that will be on my next actions list for that project. Build remarkable. I don't know what I would call that in English. Folder or something like that. Case. Mm-hmm. And then the next action is source that tool. The tool is something that it's a clamp that you sit on it, and it keeps your tool fixed. So whatever you sew at is not moving, which is very important. After you make the holes and then you make the sewing, it shouldn't move. So that went on a next actions list. I found it on eBay, and I bought it. And it feels good to you don't have to remember that you have a hobby, but the hobby don't get forgotten. So I think that's my first take on hobbies. I have some other examples as well. But how do you do? What hobbies are you having, Lars? Do you sew leather as well?
Take a step back. No, my sister does the keychains and those kinds of things. Really, really cool. No, I just wanted to take a step back, maybe just because you touched on something that I think will resonate with a lot of people listening and watching, is that there can be this sort of tendency to, I don't know how to phrase it, that you only want to put things in your GTD system that is work in within the more traditional sense. And maybe, at least for me, it was a bit harder to start to capture some of those more personal things and more sort of not as clean cut. There's no KPI on this one, so it doesn't go into my GTD system, right?
Being a good son.
Yeah, exactly. And those kinds of things also, there's some kind of I forget the word now, but there's, that instead of remembering someone's birthday, to put it in the calendar. It sort of feels like it should be something that I should be remembering, and there's some kind of nostalgia around that. And I think that it might be that same kind of the area for the brain, at least for me too.
What kind of person are you? You can't remember my birthday. Oh.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, now I get people praising me. Oh, wow, you remembered it. How nice of you. Sure. Let's say I remembered it, or maybe my calendar did.
Yeah.
But no, coming back to the areas of focus, I find that at least with the CEO level people that we work with can oftentimes tend to, be so focused on work that hobbies will tend to have fallen out really on their attention space. They don't seem to remember it because there are so many other things going on. The complexity in their lives is so big that they tend to not see it. It doesn't show up on their radar until we then start to clear their minds and start to empty their heads. And then, that's right, I actually have a guitar somewhere. Maybe I should pick that up again. So that's where it shows up for me as well. I completely agree. Areas of focus is where we would want to place them. I have them on my list. A handful of them that I keep there, that I keep for some of them are to remind me that I want to just keep it fresh in my memory. No projects related to them, but just something that I want to keep in mind, like my guitar, for example. It's in the summer house to pick it up sometimes and just play around and play along with whatever is playing on the speaker, or whatever it might be. And just like you said, some of them will be more directly moving into my GTD system. So for me, two things come up besides the running that we already spoke about in a recent episode. One being my sort of DIY practice when it comes to programming. So that was my background. So I have an Arduino. I have a few Raspberry Pis. I have a couple of kits to play around with.
You
and
lovely nerd, you.
Yes, very traditional. But it's so much fun. I actually have a project on my list now. I just looked it up, and I'm planning some small projects with my Arduino to set that up and get that running and playing around with. I had one set up where when the temperature changed, it changed the color of the light bulbs in the in the summer house. So yeah, whatever is fun in my world. So that would be what it looks like. Might not look that way for you, and that's of course fine. And then the other one on my list is the piano. So I recently bought a piano. Wanted to get back into playing. So I'm playing around with that. I'm trying to get my boys interested in playing as well. So we have that set up. I try to play some stuff with them, and we play the Paw Patrol theme on the piano and play around with them. So that's really, it's both an area of focus for myself. It's one for my boys. There's a project in there as well in getting it set up so we can mix songs from the iPhone with the piano and play along and have our own little band going on. So certainly, otherwise it'll that actually to take it a step further when it comes to home stuff. I recently noticed that my home list was a mix of chores, which would be the next one to dive into, and this more creative stuff. So I actually recently split my next actions list home into the usual home and left that as is, and then took the creative ones and called home creative. So whenever I'm looking to do something creative, I have that list. I have some songs I want to practice on my own. I have my things to move forward with the programming projects that I have, and really enjoying that list. Love to look at that and sometimes pick from that list.
I like that idea. I haven't implemented that myself, but I might. I'm reminded now that I might want to play with that, and that is to make a home project list called just fun. And just to remind myself, I'm not having problems having fun, but for someone who hasn't been or well versed in GTD, maybe just to make a fun list of things you find fun and that you will not forget. You don't want to forget that you found fun at some point and want to continue, because in the hectic everyday lives, as you say, that we meet people who work a lot and that don't remember to have fun, enjoying their work or their spare time, enjoying the fun things in life, and just have a list of fun. I think that might be a good idea if you haven't tried it before. So maybe I'll do that in my system as well. Just tweak it a little. Okay, so but how would you use then for people who are fresh to GTD, just decide outcomes and next actions? How would you just give a brief example of something that you could, like, if you wanted to, when you acquired that piano? I'm sure that was that a decide outcome and the next action and the next action, and
it certainly was.
Yeah. So to make it, put it into, you will have then two lists called projects home, and then a next actions list. In some context you would like to perform the first next action. So what do you remember approximately what the name of the project was?
I do. It was Finalize the Piano Corner. That was it. So that sort of expanded not just to buying the piano, that was the original project, but really it's part of it's in the living room. I wanted to make sure that we had everything set up for the mixer that I'm using for it, and the place to place the sheets, and have the right lighting. I got a. This sounds very Nordic, I'm sure. We have instead of a painting or a photo on that wall, we have it's a cork board with, what do you call? What's it called? Mousse. What's it called? I'm
counting on you Danish. I'm sorry, you lost me now. Mousse. What is
No,
this?
you know what it is. No, you know how so whatever is growing on rocks, for example. Yeah,
Oh, moss.
yeah.
English,
Okay, that
moss.
was. I'm
It's not
glad
that
that we
difficult.
had to tease that out. No, but so we actually have that on a corkboard. So it's alive. It lives there. It's I love looking at that because that's just this nice green wall. It's inspiring. It's creative. I got that for my birthday in March, and
And
so that's there.
you must put a link to that in the show notes after. I'm
Yeah,
sure people will love to.
I think I have to.
Your
Yeah,
moss corkboard wall.
my most exactly. No, so I have that. So that was a part of it, thinking through. And again, I actually really like that as an example of a GTD project being very, it can be very concrete and getting that piano set up and playing around with it, figuring out that's the one we wanted. And then taking that to what is the space that I want to be in when I'm sitting at the piano. And that can take on so many different next actions, like the moss on a corkboard.
Good. Well, I think that sounds like the next action. Sorry, the desired outcome and next action. So if you are going to then change to housework or house chores, how are you handling that? How do you? By the way, if you just go up on the bird's eye view of things, why would it be good to have divided the chores between you and your spouse? Why is that important? and that there is kind of a balance there.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's really good to make it clear who owns what. At least
And
that's
why
how
is
we
that
did
important?
it.
Why is that important? I'm just trying to tease this because it is.
Yeah.
It is some. I know that people are. I remember in my former relationships and my former marriage is that it is not always evident who does what. I remember especially in one relationship that was really hard because we were so different. So that when we made agreements that some person should do something and that person did not do that, I got a little upset. So, but for me, that is just, it makes the traffic rules of the home, who does what, a little better. Who's directing traffic today? Who's packing for our son? Who is making dinner? Who's shopping? And these are things that, if they are on cruise control and well organized, it makes life easier, I think. I don't know if you agree with me.
Absolutely. And also that's a good step, and also in some cases to align on the standards.
Yeah.
For how
how often should you throw out the trash? Does it, when it's kind of like bulging and it's going to sorry, you can't put anything in there, or should you? Yeah. I agree.
Exactly. No, so we actually took a very structured GTD approach when we moved to a new apartment about 8 months ago now, and drafted so what do we need to maintain at certain standards, the cleaning and shopping for groceries and all those kinds of things, and really just brainstormed that, and then we took a different turn and saying, okay, instead of just brainstorming all that stuff going on, we actually said, okay, let's put each of our names on there and then start to divide these between us. And so now we own these different areas. It's not that we are not helping each other with one area or another, but the overall owner of some of these areas is then responsible in the end to make sure that they are up to date. And that's again coming back to the nostalgia perspective, and wow, that sounds heavy and a lot of lists and things go on. In daily life, I think our household is probably like any other or like many other homes with small kids. Toys are on the floor and things like that. So it's not that it could sound very clean and square and everything's nice and shiny, but it's nice to have these things split up, especially for a GTDer like me who has been doing this for so long that I have a really well-trained radar for what shows up for me. What
Mm-hmm.
am I actually noticing when I walk around?
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't tell my brain what to look for, meaning which things should I be on the lookout to make sure that happens, I will likely not see it. I will
Mm-hmm.
walk straight past the dishes and won't see them, because if it's not on my radar to keep an eye
Let
on
me
that,
guess, you're not
which
a
is
high observer.
yeah, that could that probably also adds to it. But
Yeah.
oh, it's just nice to have those things split out.
Mm.
Who owns what, and then we
And
can manage them in our own ways.
yeah, but if you brought your wife on board this podcast now, what do you think she would say about this arrangement and that you actually went through that process? What would she say to us?
Um, I think she will say that she likes it, that it's nice and clean. It's not that she's as hardcore a GTDer as I am, so she doesn't manage it in the same way. So I have,
Mm.
some reminders set up to check on whether we need to do the laundry on Wednesdays and Saturdays, whatever it might be. So she manages it in her way, and she knows. I think the key comes back to trust, and
Mm.
trusting that he has this under control. I don't need to keep that on my radar. So
Mm.
I think it helps her in that way.
Yeah.
Is it the same for you, or did we go GTD nuts on that one?
No, we did not. But my wife has the nickname. She's, by the way, French and from Turkish origin, so we call her Madame Organisée, and she's super organized, and she loves rearranging and making things more efficient. And but we do share our responsibilities around the house, and I know what I need to do. Like it's in my, and I use and since I'm so easily distracted, I'm sorry, I'm high associative, and give me something to look at and I will forget who I am. And so I have to have reminders of the things I need to get done. But when I have reminders, I am trying to be as as adamant and do my duty towards what I've got responsibility for. So I build routines on anything that I have to, like we have an before bed routine. I will go check the doors. I will go refill water bottles, because we both like have water by our nightstand if we wake up on our Thursday. So I refill the water bottles. I will then clear what's on the sofa table and put things into the dishwasher, and that kind of concludes my little ritual in the night. And that is on cruise control. So everything is on cruise control. I don't have to remember, but because that happens every night. But like I must remind my wife to when we both do that, take some ear drops for the healthy of our ears. And we do that once a week, and I have a reminder for that, because I don't want to forget that, because it happens once a week, and it's and I use the reminder app in iOS for that. And there's two reasons: is I will get a reminder, and the second is I can pause the reminder. Remind me in 1 hour if it's not suitable to do something, or remind me tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. And that is really helpful. You can do that from the lock screens when you get a notification, or on your your Apple Watch, and that is really helpful, because then you can snooze that thing. So, and that's the reminder app on iOS. And I also have set it up with repeating tasks, so that when it's finished, it will repeat next week same time. Yeah, that's about what I do. What do you do, Lars, for remembering?
No, but and those, I think, are also really good examples in the difference that you might see from hobbies, which are more maybe directed at doing something, where housework can be coming back to that original description of areas of focus, meaning maintaining things at a certain standard. So I think for a lot of GTDers, when they start off with GTD, they will find all the things that are going on in their life. They will get that into their system, projects, next actions. As you progress with that, you will start to think more of the the future you and how you can help that person. And one thing that I certainly improved significantly at was maintaining the things that we have, the bike, the washing machine, the the laundry, the dryer, all those kinds of things. It's just something that never was on my radar before because there's so many other things going on. But now, so we got, for example, new washing machine, new dryer as we moved into the new apartment. So I just quickly skimmed through that manual and picked up. All right, so every 3 months it's good to run a program with this and that and this kind of extra cleaning stuff that you put in there. So that's in for me as well in the reminders app. Every 3 months, just to run that program and then make sure that health of that machine will maybe be extended by 2 years, 5 years, whatever it might be. It can really actually have a pretty big impact on these things. So we have that. I have cleaning the drains. I have cleaning the one that sucks the food smells out of the roof. I'm missing the English words for the right thing.
The ventilator?
Yeah, exactly. We get food delivered every week, so I need to put some stuff out when they come with the new things. Need to water the flowers. Watering the flowers is just a standard reminder for me every Sunday to just do that quick round. Takes literally 3 minutes for me to walk around and get that done. But I don't have to remember it. It's in there. So I think it's a good example of the difference in those kinds of small things that it's just so nice to get on cruise control, because the alternative would be that the machine would stop working, or that the drain doesn't work, or that the flowers would be dead. So it's nice to help the future lovers just get ahead of that annoyance and just do it on an ongoing basis.
I think so too. And then one of the things I would like to make a point of is that if something is on cruise control, don't put it in your system. So if you automatically will go out with the trash because when you look at it, it's full. That's kind of your modus operandi. You'll just do it, and you don't have to do that. I'm looking at my reminders app now. I have my father, who is 90 this year. He gave us a couple of years ago. He gave us a French, I think it's called a table clock. It's in it's black marble and gold, and it looks really beautiful clock. And it is a mechanical clock. It's nearly 200 years old, but my father is a old clockmaker, so he cleaned it out for us. Made it really it works really well. So now my job is just to wind it every Sunday, and because it will run for a week, and I wind both the clock itself so it works, but also the chimes, so you have the little ding ding. Oh, I love that sound. I didn't before, but I do now. These are things that if I don't do them, it will stop working, and it's just a friendly reminder for myself that every Sunday, this is at 3 o'clock, I will get a reminder. If it doesn't fit, I will just move it to another day or later. And I have also trying to build a habit of calling my father-in-law once a week just to say hi. I'm learning Turkish, so I need to practice. So that's a very good, and he's very patient with me. So
I was just going to say, I hope he's patient as well.
He is, and we are taking small baby steps. We talk about the weather, and I tell him what I've done today, very, very briefly, and he tell me very briefly what he's done. So that's kind of like we are trying to communicate. I want to learn Turkish, and he's my guinea pig, and just to establish that is that a chore or is it a hobby? I think both. Yes, it's a chore because I want to make this, and I committed to him, so I need a reminder, not forgetting that. So
no, and that's a good example of something where I would traditionally see people saying, I'm not going to put that on my list, but it's something that has your attention. It's something you want to do. It's great that you have a reminder system set up for that to make sure that it happens.
Yeah, and sometimes the thing in itself is a reminder. Like when I have It's in my list system for our leather hobby, but my tool now is out on we have a little side table, little leather. The chest is behind the sofa table, where we have all the leather, and on top of that lies my new tool, my hold the leather tool. I don't know what it's called in English, but it's a clamp for holding leather when you start stitching it, and that is there as a reminder. So when I sit down, I can look at, do I want to do this? Oh, yes. Now I feel inspired. Let me do something. Let me work a little on my project. Maybe I should cut some leather today, and then voila. And the thing in itself becomes a reminder. So maybe if you walk past the piano every day, you might be inspired to just sit down and play something. If your guitar is outside and not in a cabinet, you might get inspired to pick it up. So that might be enough. You know, if you remember doing that and you feel good about it, then the thing in itself might be enough. But if you don't feel it's enough, find a way to remind yourself of it, so you don't forget all the fun stuff also.
Yeah, it's the same for me in the summer house. You know, I don't need to write down that I need to mow the lawn. It sort of reminds me on its own when we go there that, okay, we have to lift our feet high now to get through. So maybe now is the time to get that done. Yeah. But just to take that perspective as well, because I think, you know, we now focus mainly on the housework, but a lot of people will live in houses. My wife and I, we have the summer house, a lot of projects going on there as well, and they go into my system just as work projects do. We're renovating the bathroom. We are going to paint the house this year. We're painting some lamps. So these are several of the projects that I have there, and so that certainly goes for the personal life as well. Looking through my list, we have some smaller vacations travel that we hope we can do this year. Those are projects in my system as well. So all of that stuff still goes in there. It's the same kind of process that we use for both. We just, you know, we're planting things now. We are making sure that there are the right conditions for the blueberries and the strawberries and the raspberries, and we've planted potatoes and peas and carrots and everything else. So that's certainly projects as well, to go and get that and buy those, plant them with the boys, and, you know, do all that kind of stuff. So it's not all chores and boring things on the house lists as well. It's a lot of fun stuff as well.
You should add, instead of being Lars GTD Rothschild Henriksen, maybe a farmer should be in there as well. Small-time farmer.
No, and we love it. We both my wife and I really enjoy spending time in the garden. The boys love it as well, and play around and help us out sometimes when they want to. So it's certainly on the hobbies list as well for us.
Well, great. I don't know if you I think we are at the end of this episode. It sounds like that to me. Anything you would like to add, Lars, to what we talked about now? Anything that you wrote down?
No, I think we covered most of what I had thought we would want to mention. I think it's I'm happy that we made this episode. So thankful that this came up as a question in the Reddit forums.
And what was the username? The Redditor is called.
You really like those usernames, don't you?
Yes, I do.
This one was JenTheDogLover.
JenTheDogLover. Okay.
I'm guessing the things to her. No, I like that we made this, because I think it's an interesting topic for people that are coming from the GTD perspective of, you know, managing their work, and they have their systems and projects and everything set up, and it's nice to get these things set up as well on the home front, whether it's maintenance, whether it's hobbies, whatever it might be. Nice to get those lists set up and making it a more, you know, consistent way to live your life, really.
Yeah. Okay. End of episode getting near. Lars, will you take us out, please?
I will. We always wrap it up, but in reality, I always wrap up the episodes. But we do that with a quick reminder to head on over to GTDnordic.com. That is where you will find links to all the countries in the Nordic, with each of the websites for each of those countries, containing all of the articles about GTD, the newsletters, links to groups on social media where we discuss tools and practices with natives of each of those countries. And of course, you'll find all of our offerings there, the speeches, the courses, and the the coaching, both the virtual and the physical ones. If you are in the US or Canada and looking for a GTD course, vitalsmarts.com is where to go, and gtdfocus.com is where to go to find GTD coaches in that region. And for everyone else, head over to gettingthingsdone.com to find your local partners. And lastly, as always, we really hope that you find these episodes valuable. We have a lot of fun making them, as I'm sure you can hear from us. And we really hope that you benefit from them. Thanks for all the kind words that we get from different places, whether on Reddit, whether by email or other places on Twitter. So thanks for that. And if you benefit from them, we hope that you'll share them with a colleague or a friend who might benefit from this. And as always, rating on iTunes is always helpful for us to become more discoverable for other people that might benefit from listening to us.
Well, thank you, Lars, and thank you, our dear listeners and viewers. We are on YouTube as well. Do a search for GTD Nordic. I'm sure you will find either the Danish or the Morten Røvik channel, and you can see us as well as listen to us. So thank you so much for listening and viewing. Until next time, stay safe and stay productive. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.